what is all the hype about Loewe? Though this is a brand that has been around for decades and decades, we are noticing that in the past 2 to 3 years in particular, there has been a surge in the promotion of Loewe. People are talking about this brand more, and people seem to be interested in their products more than they previously were. Hi guys, my name is Alana, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, we discuss all things fashion, luxury, and handbags. So if those are things that are interesting to you, then I hope you would do me the favor of hitting the subscribe button down below and giving this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this kind of content. Now, getting into our topic for today, and that's going to be what is all this recent hype with Loewe? I do think it is important to know a little bit of background information about the brand, so I will quickly discuss that first. So first off, Loewe is actually a brand that has been around for many of years, decades, and even over a century in fact. So this brand was made in Spain in 1846, and this makes it actually the oldest maison under LVMH. Now, as the name suggests, LV being Louis Vuitton, a lot of people might think that Louis Vuitton was actually there first, but no, in fact, Loewe was the first maison that was technically created that is owned by this conglomerate. Now, also another thing to note here, yes, this is a brand that is owned by LVMH, so though Loewe, of course, is a separate brand, it is operating under the management of LVMH. What is interesting, though, is the fact that this brand has been around so long, but it seems that only recently we're really seeing the logo more places, we're hearing the name more, and we're even seeing people on social media talking about the brand more. And I think this comes down to 3 different reasons that we're going to touch on today. The first reason I believe that Loewe is in such hype right now is because of the fact that people are very much into this quiet luxury trend. Though I do think that it might be kind of dying down just slightly in popularity, there is still always going to be a group of people who are interested in their quiet luxury products. The fact that Loewe is not a brand that was talked about so much before, but is seeing hype now, I do think it's part of the fact that not everyone knew about this brand. Not everybody on the street is going to be able to identify a Loewe anagram or a Loewe handbag if they see it. And I do think that adds to a lot of appeal with people. It seems that more in recent years, luxury is something that's becoming a little bit more oversaturated. You do see it more commonly than you might have, let's say, 10 years ago. And people are looking for something that is a little bit different. Not everybody wants to be holding the same handbag that someone else is carrying. And again, of course, this is a personal preference, but when it comes to Loewe, this is a brand that is definitely more if you know, you know, and some people are quite into that. Loewe has done a really good job of playing into the quiet luxury, whether that is because it is something that is trending right now, or just because this is really representing the brand and kind of goes back to their roots as well. But what I did find interesting even is that on some of their handbags, like the puzzle bag, like the flamenco for example, there was anagram debossed into the leather that was not the most easily detectable, but of course if you knew the logo, then yes, you could see it. They have actually switched from that logo on some of their bags, specifically I do know the flamenco for example, and they have put just the name Loewe in a small gold font. So this is something that I found quite interesting as well, where now you are not even seeing the logo on some of their most popular handbags, and in fact there is just the name in the gold font. Now this to me adds a little bit more to the quiet luxury. It adds a little bit less saturation of seeing this logo everywhere. However, the name of course is still shown and is still there if you do know the bag. However, I think because of the name itself is just printed in tiny letters, this adds to more of that if you know, you know, and it does take away from a little bit more of a logo mania type handbag. Reason number 2 that I think Loewe is so popular right now is also because of the fact that the quality is still there in their products. You don't really hear people complaining on social media about the fact that their Loewe pieces are made poorly. So that is something that Loewe has that unfortunately a lot of brands do not have at the moment. We do hear reports commonly of declining quality, however, prices have been going up. And though prices for Loewe have been going up, it seems that they can actually stand behind their quality and their pieces are really well made. This also could be said because of the fact that their pieces are still handmade. So for example, the puzzle bag is a very popular bag from Loewe, and though they have come out with a new version, the Puzzle Edge, the original puzzle bag is actually made of 75 different pieces of leather. So of course, we know there has to be some good craftsmanship and quality that goes into making this bag for it to be functional, for it to be still lasting years on years. That definitely is a testament to the brand and what they stand for in terms of their quality. Also, the actual leather of these bags is absolutely beautiful. If you touch some of their pieces, like the flamenco or the squeeze bag, for example, the leather on these pieces are buttery soft. The fact that we haven't really heard of complaints or issues with the longevity of these bags really does speak to how well the leather has been produced and made in this case. Another thing I love about the leather quality is the fact that they have got the colors of their leathers down to a science at this point. They have come up with such beautiful colors. I'm a very big fan of this beautiful emerald kind of tealy green that they have. It is stunning, and the way that they can produce this color so nicely on a leather, as well as various different colors they make, says a lot about the brand too. Not every brand can exactly get this right, but I do think this is something that Loewe really has done successfully. And on the contrary of some brands where you do hear of quality issues, I think what's also important to know is that on the contrary to what we're hearing with quality issues of some brands, I think here in the luxury YouTube space, or even just the handbag community in general, Loewe is definitely known for having some of the best leather. That is something that I have heard multiple times from multiple YouTubers, multiple creators in general, and after feeling the leather for myself, I definitely can see why. The leather is absolutely stunning on these bags, and I think they do a really good job of choosing the right leather for the right design and the right handbag. So not only is it beautiful and it adds to the look, it really does mean that it's a bag that you can have for years on end and it will still be beautiful to use. And the final reason that I think Loewe is so popular at the minute is the fact that they still have very creative and unique designs to their handbags, to their pieces, and I think some other fashion houses might be lacking this element. It has been said that there has been a lot of different fashion houses that are just recycling designs from other different brands, and I can see the reason why they would do this. For example, if you see a trending silhouette, it makes sense that you might want to offer something similar to your consumers, so they would be purchasing that instead of from a different fashion house. However, I think it's important to still have standout pieces that are unique to your brand. So for example, pieces like the squeeze bag, pieces like the hammock bag, and pieces even like the puzzle bag, I think are very unique to this brand. For example, when it comes to the puzzle bag, that's not just your average camera kind of bag. This is definitely a piece that has different layers to it, different pieces of leather even, and it really does give a unique look. Even in terms of the squeeze bag, I like the fact that the actual handle or leather break you would use to put over your shoulder, you can actually literally squeeze the handle, and that is part of the reason why it has the name. And that is also how you can move and adjust the length of the bag too. So I think that's really creative in and of itself as well. And then pieces like the hammock bag, the fact that it can truly take the shape of a hammock. You can wear it over the crook of your arm, but when you open it up, it does give that hammock shape. That is something that is very unique that I have not seen other fashion houses recreate or come up with something that is on that kind of level as well. So I do think that there are definitely brownie points to give to Loewe in terms of creativity and in terms of coming up with unique styles that don't necessarily just depend on a logo in order for the bag to sell. Now, when it comes to these unique designs, you might look at them and say it might be a little too out there for me, or perhaps it's a little too different to wear on an everyday basis. I think for this brand, this is a brand you really need to see the bags in person to understand and have an appreciation for. I know that was the case for myself. When I first saw the squeeze bag come out, for example, I thought that this piece was kind of weird, if I'm completely honest. And now I'm kind of realizing I don't necessarily think it is weird. I think it's the fact that it was unique, something I haven't seen before. And in fact, when I went to try this on in store, I actually fell in love with the bag. This bag is an expensive one though. This is over $5,000. However, when I tried it on, in my mind, I was justifying this cost. I loved the different mechanisms of changing the chain. I loved how substantial the hardware was. And oh my goodness, was the leather truly buttery soft. I really fell in love with this piece, and I think that if you are someone who is kind of on the fence about Loewe or even want to see what some of this hype is about, you truly do have to go in store and try some of these pieces on. Now, the fact that you're actually able to go and try these pieces on in areas that once did not have standalone stores, I think that does also speak to the success of the brand right now and shows that the popularity is certainly increasing. So for example, the mall that I have close to me that has all of our luxury shops, it did not have a Loewe on its own, and we had Loewe pieces that were in, for example, the whole Renfrew. So you could see the pieces, but it wasn't something that you could actually experience in just a store of its own. Recently, they actually did open a Loewe store, and that is where I got to try on these pieces, and I do feel like I got a full experience and understanding of the brand, and I do think that that really helps with this brand and kind of understanding the craftsmanship, kind of getting a vibe for the style of the brand too. So if you haven't gone in store, I would highly recommend it. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you have not already. I am really curious to hear your opinions on this topic as well. What do you think would be the reason for Loewe's success in recent years? Do you think it was just slow and steady wins the race? They're a brand that has been around for ages. It has always been loved, and now finally the masses are just seeing the reasons why it was loved. Or do you think there's something else that I have missed here? I love to hear your opinions, so please let me know down below what you think of Loewe and if this is a brand you now have on your radar, or if this was a brand you did have on your radar, but maybe you do not anymore. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate all of your support. Thank you to my subscribers, and I will see you guys in the next video.